Hi guys, sorry to be on a little bit late, but typical. Just as you go and do something, the technology doesn't work. So I am streaming from my phone instead of my laptop. So I'm sure that it'll all work out well anyway. So thank you all for those of you who come and turned up for me tonight. And if not, for those of you catching the replay. So if you can, just wave your hand, say hello. And if you come on the replay, make sure you hashtag yourself, say replay. And as I have my discussion, just make sure you fire out some questions out there that you might want answered, and I can have a good go at answering them. So earlier on in the week, I asked a question, or put out the question about what is stopping you from achieving weight loss and things like that. Okay, so one of the really big ones that kept popping up was self-doubt. And so that is why I've decided to do the Facebook Live today with that as the main topic, and just to discuss what self-doubt actually is. Now, if you spend a wee moment and actually thought about it, self-doubt is nothing but fear. Okay, so the fear of failure. Well, if we are afraid of failing, then we're not going to be able to make mistakes. And if we can't make mistakes, we're not going to learn. All right, so even as we were little kids, little toddlers, we fell over before we managed to walk. And that's all it is. It's a natural progression of life. You need to make mistakes so that you can learn from them. So back yourself, stop talking yourself out of it, and do it. Push through that fear and have a go. You're only going to make a mistake and you're only going to learn from it. Even the professionals, even any extreme athlete or anyone of the like has made mistakes, and that is how they are successful, because they keep getting up and going again, getting up and going again, practicing and practicing and practicing. Everybody fails. Everybody fails. It's how we get up from our failures that makes us as a person. Hi everybody, we've got a few people jumping on, which is really awesome, and thanks so much for your support. Once again, if you missed the start of the live stream, I just asked you to ask any questions if you've got any questions that you want answered, and make sure you like and share and let as many people know as you can about what I'm trying to do here, which is just try and get the message out there that we can achieve anything, and all we need to do is make a bit of a mental shift about it. And it's continuous. Nothing comes easy. It's continuous effort. So I've briefly spoken about self-doubt and about how it's being a fear of failure, and sometimes that can stem, and more than likely stem, all the way back from when we were children. Silliest comments can stick with us and just plague us for the rest of our lives. Subconscious mind is the mind that is formed between the ages of 0 and 4, and also between 4 and 7 is a very highly influential time as well. Any comments made during then, you will remember, and they'll come up and they will plague you for the rest of your life. So in terms of some people who suffer some major trauma during that time and they have major hang-ups over it, I would highly recommend hypnotherapy or some type of therapy to help you release some of those emotions and move on. And if you want any further advice or questions on that, just make sure you PM me or however you wish to contact me, and I can steer you in the right direction or help you myself. So getting a shift from the couch and from the kitchen or the fridge to making a positive change. I quite often hear in my survey that at night we worry about all the things we've done wrong during the day, what people have thought of us, I'm a big fat pig, all sorts of things. Now, we got to stop that kind of talk. You need to get yourself a rubber band, a really, really tight one, and put it on your wrist. And every time you have a negative comment invade your thoughts, you need to give yourself a really good flick of it, because that negative talk is doing nothing but hold you back. All right, so positive thoughts all the time, every time. Even when you look at somebody and you think that they're looking at you, give yourself a flick and say, they're not looking at me. They're just worried about what's going on in their bubble, because that's all it is. They're in their little bubble and you're in yours. Stop being so paranoid about what other people think, because 9 times out of 10, they're not even thinking about you. They couldn't give a shit about what you're doing or what you're wearing or what you're eating or anything like that. Just give yourself a ping of that rubber band and start thinking about something much more proactive. All right, so very, very in phrase at the moment is focus. What you focus on is what you get, and some of you might read it and not really absorb it, but there could be nothing more true to the word. All right, so whatever you focus on is what you get. If you focus on every day going, oh, I'm so fat and I need to do something about it, well, yeah, you probably will get fat. You need to start saying, I'm really proud of myself, and every day I'm making a better job at what I'm doing, whatever it may be. Acknowledge how awesome you are, because you are awesome. Everybody deserves to be awesome and to be appreciated and to be loved. All right, so make sure you do that, and make sure you tell your kids that, because if anything, the purpose of anything that we do as adults is to allow our young ones to be a better person and to learn from your mistakes. Again, it's mistakes, and we all learn from them. So believe you can do it and see yourself doing it. Visualize what you want to be doing. The subconscious mind relates to images, and the subconscious mind cannot differentiate between what is real and what is not real. So you often hear people saying, oh, they're a bit of a dreamer. Well, that person who's a dreamer is somebody who's going to take themselves pretty far, because that's the way the subconscious mind. If you repetitively hold that dream in your mind, then your mind has got a path to take. If you don't have a path, if you don't have any vision whatsoever, you're just going to keep spinning around in circles and circles and circles. Okay, so focus on the future and focus big. Focus as big as you can get. Bigger the better, more brighter, more detail, bigger, bigger, bigger. Because if you shoot big, somewhere along the line, you will head in that direction. And the other thing you need to do is pay attention to the very subtle things that come into your life that offer you opportunities. If you really took note of what happened in your everyday movements, you would notice that quite a few opportunities come up. And if you were being consciously mindful and aware, you'd notice things coming up that are in line with your thoughts. Let's make an example of you were looking at buying a new car, and it might have been a red car. You wanted to buy a red Ford or a red, what are they called? Suzuki Swift. All right, so maybe you wanted to buy a red Suzuki Swift. Well, I would guarantee you that you would find red Suzuki Swifts coming out in front of your line of sight almost daily, if not several times a day, because that is on your reticular active system now. It is your line of focus. Now this is also, I'm heading off on several tangents here, but this is also in line with, what was I going to say? Oh, when people have phobias about people making noises when they eat, or people snoring when they're sleeping. It's because your reticular activating system is switched on to that noise. So you need to break that neuropathway and create a new thing to look out for. All right, so I've spoken about self-doubt already. I've spoken about what you focus on. I've spoken a little bit about negative talk. Get that rubber band around your wrist and give it a ping. And the other one I had on my list is about finding your why. Now, this can be a really tough one. You hear it all the time saying, what's your why? What's your why? A big in phrase that you hear from trainers and coaches and all the like. It's very easy easier said than done. What is your why? Is it to look good? Well, what do you want to look good for? So you could look good naked? Well, who cares if you look good naked? I'm sure your husband or your partner adores you for who you are. So what do you really want? More and more people I speak to, and the more and more research I do, it really comes down to we need to be thinking about our health, all right? Because we want to live a long life. We want to live a long, healthy life. We don't want to be a burden to our children and to our family and loved ones, all right? So if anything's going to motivate you to get off the couch, think about the impact that it's going to make for you, for your family, when you start to get older, all right? So it could be whether you are heading along the track of a heart attack, diabetes, anything like that. If you haven't done any resistance training, you are more than likely going to be suffering all sorts of back issues, hip replacements, knee issues, all sorts. I mean, a lot of it is a natural progression of old age, and we all need joint repairs and all that kind of stuff. But if you live a fit and active, healthy life, you will long prevent that. And the other thing is that you will recover a whole lot faster than you would if you didn't get off your butt and do something. It doesn't have to be hard. You don't need to be doing the HIIT training, intensive workouts, trying to meet the criteria of all these high impact people. It doesn't need to be that hard. Honestly, if you just did 20 minutes a day, 3 or 4 times a week of resistance training, it could just be bodyweight exercises, lunges and squats and press-ups, and you lounge. That's all you need to do. You just need to make sure you're doing it and doing it daily. And progressing just a little bit. One day you might do 5 press-ups, and in about 2 weeks you'll notice you can do 10, and you can do 10 press-ups easy. It's just about progression. Pick one thing you want to improve on and just keep doing it. Alright, so just some quick tips about nutrition if you were interested on it. And because my thing at the moment that I'm concentrating is about the mind, the best thing to do is to become mindful. If you can start getting your mind on track for your goals, then everything else will fall into place. As I said earlier, if you focus on what you get, and if you focus on what you want, and you focus on it enough, and it starts to saturate your thoughts, then that is what your mind will start taking you in the direction that you're wanting. I'm just seeing a message there. Hard to come back from repeatedly trying to start and failing, but finding the why is what I've searched for. Let's hope I can get back into training. Thanks, Scotty. It's awesome to have you online. There's lots of awesome faces, names on here that I haven't seen in a long time, so thank you so much for following me. Hey, getting back on track about mindfulness. So, I've got 4 tips here to eat when you're hungry. Now, I could guarantee you that most of yous eat when you're not hungry. I eat when I'm not hungry, and I need to give myself a bit of a nudge and say, are you hungry? And recognise those signs. If you were to take some time and close your eyes and think about how hungry you are out of 10, and thinking that 0 is I'm absolutely full as a bull and I can't fit anything more in, and 10 is, oh my God, I'm going to die. Probably pretty much think that every time you went to go and eat and you really went to rate your hunger, you'd probably be sitting around about 6 or 7. Now, that's not really an extreme hunger. You're just starting to eat because you're starting to get a little bit, like you're having some cravings or something like that. So just be a bit mindful and really see where you are with the hunger levels. The other one is eat mindfully. Okay, so thinking about what we're eating, really enjoying the food that we're eating and the colours that we have on our plate, the vitamins and minerals that it's providing our body. Enjoy your food. And if you're eating McDonald's, I hope you're looking at their McDonald's going, this isn't very good for me and I'm going to throw it out now because it's got nothing that's going to achieve in my body. All right, so become mindful. Eat foods that you love. Now that's a pretty contradictory sentence after the one that I've just said about eating McDonald's. But if you take everything away from your diet, you're only going to want it more and you're going to binge on it. Trust me, I've been there and I've done that. You deprive yourself of all the things that you love, and then when you've just had enough of not having it anymore, you'll eat as much of it as you can, and then you'll feel sick, and then you'll be telling yourself you're such a fat cow or you're such a fat bastard, and around and round the circle goes. So if you can have a little bit, whether it's a couple of pieces of pizza or whatever, and then put the pizza away, no big deal. You've satisfied your craving, and you get on with it the next day. You're not failing. You've just accepted that, I feel like some pizza. You not feel like, oh my God, I'm going to smash a whole pizza because I haven't had it in a week and I don't know when I'm going to get it next. All right, so just chill. Just relax. Don't get so stressed about it. Because when you're stressed, your body ain't going to do nothing about burning fat. All right, it's just going to stay there. And the last one on there is eat till you're satisfied. So that's again becoming mindful about what we're eating and how we're feeling inside us with those hunger levels. Just eat till you're satisfied. Have some water with your dinner or your meal and sip away at it. You'll notice pretty quickly that you'll become satisfied very quickly. All right, does anyone have any questions before I just go on a little bit more about some nutrition ideas just to get you started? All right, so if you've got any questions, make sure you just fire them at me. Otherwise, I'll just carry on. All right, so some basic tips just to get you started is making sure that you eat enough. A lot of people that I speak to are either one of two things. They either don't eat enough or they eat too much. And you'd be so super surprised at the amount of people that just don't eat enough. And so what happens is that they don't eat, they might not eat all day, and then they'll go and have a meal at night. And it could be a big meal or it could not be a big meal. It's really amazing how little people eat, especially when they are big people, and a lot of people might judge them for being big eaters or whatever. It's very, very often the opposite. Okay, so when we don't eat, our body will store their energy because it doesn't know when the next meal is going to come. We need to be eating consistently, healthy, nourishing foods, intermittently over the day. Now, if you are somebody who isn't too busy to eat, or has a pretty hard out job, who only gets time to eat a certain day, I would highly recommend looking at the ketogenic diet based plan, and that's using fat as fuel. All right, so that's providing energy through your fat, becoming fat adapted. And again, if you're interested in more information about that, you can just let me know, and I can help you with that. Make sure we're eating our macros, all right? So our macros, if you don't know already, are our proteins, fats, and carbs. Proteins are what helps repair and rebuild our muscles, and also is a really good way of fighting off any hunger or cravings, because it's really a really satiating macro. Carbs obviously is generally our main energy source, so you want to stay away from all the breads and things like that. We want to have some dense carbs using vegetables, high fibre, as much nourishing carbohydrates as we can. And then our fats, we want to make sure that we're having healthy fats. And healthy fats would go into our olive oils, coconut oils, avocados, nuts, anything similar on those lines. Again, if you have any questions about some meal ideas, just fire away and I can flick some through to you. Drink lots of water. Minimum, as you would have heard, usually is about 1.5 to 2 litres of water a day. Our body is made up of 80% water, so to drink water is pretty logical. All right, so get the water into you and it will help flush away all those toxins and keep your digestive system running pretty efficiently. And it's just overall pretty awesome for you. And that's the way you have to look at things. You've got to change your relationship with food. A lot of people say, oh, I hate water, it's got no flavour. Well, if you looked at water and said, oh, it's such a pure flavour, it's got such a pure source, it makes me feel so good. My body's made up of 80% water and I'm pretty awesome, so I might as well drink more of it so it makes me even more awesome. All right, just think about the way you think about food and the language that you use vocally and mindfully, and just make sure it's constantly a positive way of speaking and thinking. Eat off a smaller plate. That can help reduce our portion sizes. And another funky one there is eat off a blue plate. All right, a blue plate can send out negative vibes and not very appetizing. If you ever were to go and install or go and get your kitchen made over, I'll tell you they'd probably be telling you to stay away from the blue because it's not a very inviting colour. For some reason, I don't really know why. Sleep is a really big one, and a lot of people struggle with sleep. And I've recently had a very, very close friend who used to struggle sleeping intensely. He'd be lucky to get 3 or 4 hours of straight sleep and work long days. He'd just go to bed and be stressed about his work. And he believed it was things to do with the full moon. He believed it was because of his bed. It was all sorts. Now, after some time, I felt bold enough to say, I've got a bit of a trick for you. And he was ready to listen, because you've got to be ready to make the change. And he was ready to listen. And all I said to him was, try counting backwards from 1,000. And keep bringing your mind back to that counting. Count back from 1,000. And you'll notice that your mind will stop thinking all these other rubbish because it's too busy trying to count, and you'll drift off to sleep. Now, if you're somebody who struggles with sleeping, give that a go. And if you get sick of counting backwards from 1,000, try reciting the alphabet backwards and then forwards and then backwards and then forwards. Concentrate only on that and you'll notice that you'll drift off to sleep pretty quickly. Okay? And keep doing it, continuous repetition, and your habits will be broken, and you'll soon be drifting off to sleep like a baby. Managing stress, that's a really big one. So lots of things we can do to help manage stress. Take some time out, breathe, big deep breaths, come in tune with your body, just allow your body to relax. Avoid any stressful activities. Just relax and enjoy life, okay? So we all want this and we all want it now. And we just need to sit back and just relax and enjoy the view. Enjoy our kids growing up. Enjoy the wonderful weather outside. Enjoy our life, because we've got a pretty good life. A pretty good life at the moment. And as I've already touched on, it's about thinking big. We've got to think big, all right? We've got to have big dreams, big goals, so that we have a path to head on. Yellow brick road taking us to some wonderful, wonderful place. Because if you've got nothing to look forward to, then you're just going to sit there stagnant and not go anywhere. All right, so that is just about me. I hope I made some sense and I didn't rabble on too much. If anyone is interested in any more tips, coaching, mentoring, nutrition advice, hypnotherapy, anything similar, then make sure you message me and I can be in touch with you, have a bit of a conversation with you, give you a call, and we can have a chat and see where you're at and whether and what I can help you with. All right, so thanks so much for joining me tonight, and make sure you like and share this video so that I can get as much audience as I can. Thanks heaps, guys. Good night.